audio. Who knows? I'm just trying to play with it this weekend, maybe, depending on how good I do in the tournament. Now, I have to tell you ahead of time, if I win this tournament, now this is, like I said, this is a very small tournament. It's like, I think the total prize pool is like $40,000. Well, depending on how many people enter. If more people are entering, it may be $50,000, $60,000, who knows. But typically in these type of events, you know, even if you win, you come in first place, you don't win $50,000, $60,000, you win like half of it, like 50% of it. So really, I'm only playing for like 20 grand, maybe if there's a lot of people, 30 grand, somewhere in there. But if I do win, or I should say when I win, I'm going to probably take that and head back to Arizona. So I'm kind of crossing my fingers. It'd be really it'd be a nice way to start the new year. The first month of the year, win a tournament and be able to head back to Arizona. I think that would be the way I'd want to go. But we'll see how it goes. I'll find out. I might, and if I don't come in first, I just make maybe a couple $1,000s or whatever, I'll just use that as a bankroll to start making trips down to these other casinos where there's actually deeper action, you know, more profitable tournaments to be in. And I'll start doing that on the weekends or whatnot. I'll stream those while we go down. But I've also been thinking of moving the channel, guys. I mean, right now, if you're on Twitch or whatever, I'm under, I think it's Chit Chat or whatever. That's the category I'm under. I've been thinking about moving it to the poker channel and just bringing up my poker and playing, because that's really what I enjoy. And everybody, matter of fact, last night, I always say, you're always welcome to email me. You know, you can email me at POV America, POV America at Outlook.com. Always welcome to email me. Well, last night I checked, I got an email, and what the person said, really nice, really nice. They gave me some encouragement, said don't give up, don't get discouraged, which I'm, it is, you're right. They said it's tough, because they have a stream, and they're growing, and they have a little over 150 followers, and he's been doing it for, I think he said 2 years or a year and 8 months, something like that. So he's growing gradual, and said don't get discouraged, and it'll come slowly. But he also said, talk about what you love. If you just focus on that, everything else will come. And I'm thinking, the only thing that I really enjoy is playing poker. It's it's competitive, but it's also a very social thing. You do have the chit chat, a little bit of the engagement with the other players. So I do enjoy it. So I'm thinking of maybe moving my channel from that chit chat one, or I'm pretty sure that's what I'm under. I'm thinking about moving it to the poker and just going ahead and bringing it up and playing that, and sort of commentating as I play in that. It's much easier for me to communicate when I'm doing something I enjoy, and otherwise it's very difficult to try and you're trying to cherry pick topics to where people might be interested in whatever topic you're talking about. And he was telling me that's not the way to do it, which I already knew that wasn't the way to do it. It was just kind of what I was falling into. So I don't know, probably. So, and I'll redesign it. I think I'm gonna change it. I've already said changing it from Pro Poker Live, or I'm changing it from POV America, and I'm changing it to probably Pro Poker Live, something like that. I used to, once upon a time, actually have an online poker room before the feds shut them all down. So a little frustrating, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I just thought about it last night a little bit, and I just went, after reading some of the emails and rereading some of them, I went, everybody's giving me great information. They're telling me how to be successful, but as I said, you get a little anxiety because you're not growing as quick as you want. And then when he said he'd been doing it for a year and 8 months, and he just had a little over 100, I think 150 or something like that. That kind of put it in perspective. You know, I'm not one of these huge gamers that play Fortnite or any of these other games. So, and that seems to be, if you're not evaluating technology, if you're not playing games, or if you don't have the cleavage that you need to have a successful channel, it's really a slow grow, slow. I think that, you know, I'm going to go ahead and probably make a few more changes. I do have to find out what I can do as far as what I'm pretty sure I can stream anything as far as game-wise on that poker channel. I don't play real cash because, of course, in the U.S. it's not legal. However, if I can make the move to Vegas, I'll play cash games online. That's kind of what I'll stream, and those are always fun. The cash tournaments, cash games. I would love to be able to stream those. You know, just to see where I can go on that. But that's kind of what between last night and this morning, just kind of in my head going through it, going, you know, it's going to be the best thing, because having an open channel, and POV America is kind of confusing. You don't know what it is. It's not something that's very, you know, it's not an everyday type of a name, because it really isn't descriptive of what the channel is. But Pro Poker Live, you know, that's pretty descriptive, I think. So, anyway, we'll see how it goes. Today, my whole day is probably going to be focused on trying to get this homework done from these classes, and you know, the classes that I have coming in, I'll kind of give them some work to do and keep them busy, give them busy work. I don't know what the deal is today, man. I'm getting caught at every light behind every slow guy. It's just really weird. This morning has already started off. So that's why I'm like, do I really want to go play poker tonight? It's kind of a weird day. I don't know. Oh my God. Let me see. So what did I see yesterday? You know, I saw the thing about Trump. I saw that he kind of caved. Well, I won't even say caved. He basically just decided not to. He probably didn't want to be bothered with the State of the Union. But it's funny. I love the slant that CNN. You can always. I'm starting to learn what the left and the right mean. I mean, before, when you talked about, you know, which way do you lean? Do you lean left? Do you lean? I'm kind of seeing the news media. I'm now seeing it. Like Pelosi said, you're not going to do. You know, we don't want you to do this State of the Union address until you give in and reopen the government. And Trump basically said, look, man, I'm going to do it if I want to do it. And then he later, you know, he came back and said, no, you know what? I'm not going to do it until the shutdown's over. Well, all of a sudden, Pelosi, they're claiming a victory on that. I mean, anything they can claim of, well, President Trump caves into Pelosi. He didn't cave into anybody. He just basically said, you know what, I'll do it later. Doesn't need Pelosi, doesn't need any of that to do a State of the Union address. It's up to him when, where, it really is. So I just laughed about it. You know, the middle. You know, matter of fact, I went to this. I found a website. What the hell? I think it's called. Oh man, it's like. You know, I have to go back and look at the name of it. I came across it by accident, and I really liked it. It basically shows you right, left, middle, and it was really close. Like, so it says the left says this, and it says President Trump caves to Pelosi and postpones his State of the Union address. The middle says President Trump has decided to postpone his State of the Union address until the shutdown is done. And then, of course, the right, it says President Trump has decided to postpone his State of the Union until, you know, the shutdown is completed, over, you know. So it was kind of neat to go through all the different news stories that have been in the news and see right, left, center, right, and you can really start to see. I mean, just looking at how they spin it, you can, I mean, for the first time, I was really going, holy crap, I see what everybody's talking about. And it really is. It's like, okay, they talk about the deep state or the far left and this. I can see it. I mean, I really can see the Democrats and how really warped, twisted, and how corrupt they are. I mean, the shit that they come up with and the shit that they say. And I'm like, wow, how can they not, do they not even look at themselves? Is there no self-policing of who they are, what they do, what they say? Because I'm reading this and I'm like, and if you read, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll try and find the website. And it really is, it's an interesting, at first, of course, I verified, I wanted to make sure it wasn't a website that was like owned or actually being done by the far right, the far left. You know, I wanted to make sure it was truly a, you know, basically a fair assessment of everything, and it really was. I mean, I went down to like some of the Kavanaugh stories and some of. I really think that it was a really great site. I mean, especially on the Kavanaugh thing, it basically said, this is their stance, this is what the middle is, and this is what this is. And it made sense. It wasn't, there's no guesswork involved. It was very clear, very concise, and it made perfect sense. No, they weren't trying to cloud it, or they weren't trying to, they were like, this is what the Democrats and the, you know, say, this is what Republicans say, and this is what the middle says. This is the perspective of, you know, boy, I'll tell you what, got a lot out of it. It was a great site. So I'll try and get the URL for it, try and get the actual name of the site. Like I said, I just came, it was, you know how you go to one website and it'll lead you to another and another, and then I did a Google search for something and it came up and I just clicked it and I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. And the more I read it, the more I realized, yeah, I can see where the Democrats have really become kind of radicalized, relying on, you know, and it's kind of funny because a lot of the people in Hollywood that side with the Democrats, many of them would never be there if they were grounded in reality. I mean, if they were really grounded, like, you know, if you were a middle income, if you were a blue collar worker, if you were really true America, not Fantasyland Hollywood, if you were a true American that really had to work, you know, a 40-hour work week every week, all year long, you know, if you were in the grind, you'd understand you'd never want to be a Democrat. The Democrat is for the rich elite. That's kind of what they put themselves in, and they think that their voice matters more than yours or mine because they're in Hollywood, this fantasy land they live in. And it's just funny. There's a song by Nickelback. I think it's called Rockstar or something. Every time I hear that song, I just think about all these idiots I see in Hollywood. You know, tell Trump didn't just badmouth. I'm like, you know what? That's because you're part of that little elite Democratic group. You guys think you are something, but in reality, you're not. You know. So, yeah, and I've openly invited. It's funny. I've openly invited anybody that watches on. You know, like I said, I streamed to seven different different platforms, and at any given time, I can look and I can see that. You know, I've got 7 watching here, 8 watching here, 10 watching, you know. So I always know that, yeah, there's people watching, but I've tried to get away from doing that after some suggestions by you guys not to pay attention to that. But every stream I do, I can always see the people watching, you know, off of Restream. And it'll show you how many people are watching the actual streams. And it's funny because I've probably got about 70 videos up there between the morning drive, the afternoon drive, and the evenings. I probably have 70 videos up there, and even if I only had 10 viewers at any given time, I'm always open about inviting Democrats to kind of explain to me and convince me why their party is the one that's the better one for America, you know. And now I've got a lot of Republicans that have responded back to me, emails. Some have jumped on to the chat, but no Democrat, not a single Democrat, has ever gotten on and said, okay, let me tell you why this is the best, Democratic Party is the best for you in the country. Not one. And that kind of, right there, that kind of tells me more than I need to know. I mean, if you really, truly, and I'm not, like I said, I don't reach 10,000 or 50,000 people at once. I reach maybe gradually a couple thousand over the last month since the 1st of January. And even those are, 20 on this day, 10 on this day, so they're very sporadic. But I get great feedback on the great emails. I mean, you guys are very, very supportive, great information, great tips on how to grow the channel. Love it. And I thank you guys. POV America at Outlook.com. Always welcome to send your emails there. And I've really enjoyed them. But what I'm saying is, not one Democrat or not one person, well, I've had a lot of people come and tell me about the Republican Party and why they are, who they are, how, and which has really been informative to me. But I've tried to keep that open mind about both of them. I wanted to really learn about both. But not one single person from the Democratic Party has come and said, hey, this is why we're the best. And rightfully, I understand now. I understand why that is. It's because if you are not the rich, if you are not in the elite, with all the money, and you don't care about the little guy. You really don't. You care about keeping the power that you had or you perceive to have, and you try to do what you can to corrupt or to pollute the other party. I see the agenda that they have, and it's not an agenda for me, for my benefit. It's for their benefit. And that's kind of what I see. So the agenda is not for me, it's for them. And, that makes it a little bit clearer to me. Every day I see it a little bit more and a little bit more. Now, they don't realize that there's millions and millions of Americans like myself that also see it. They're going to get the Hollywood people that are going to bang and tell you what you should believe, and they're going to try and rally up some support, and they're going to have movements on all this stuff, and but the truth of the matter is, if the Hollywood people were like you or I, if they were middle class, workers, and oh no, they got their millions of dollars, and they don't know what it's like. You ask a Hollywood, okay, you were in this, how much did you get paid for doing this? Or how much did you get paid per episode? Oh, well, I made $1 million per episode. Okay. Most people won't see $1 million in their life. Most people are making minimum wage at $7 or whatever minimum wage is, $7.25, I don't know. So the disparagement between the rich elite, Hollywood crowd and the Democrats and the average American, way off. So when I hear these Hollywood folks bashing this, bashing that, it's because they want to protect their little money and and that's all they know. All Hollywood knows is, how can I be in the in crowd? I want to be with the popular people. These were the people that were in your high schools and growing up that wanted to be something they could never be, and then finally got lucky and became something based on probably a bunch of lies that they told. Who knows how they got there. But the point is, they're not like the average American that is grinding every single day, 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year, struggling to make the payments on their houses and cars or whatever they're doing. That's not Hollywood crowd. Hollywood crowd is Democrats, because everybody else is a Democrat, and it's the in thing to do, and I want to be a Democrat too. I'm a Democrat, he's a Democrat. Wouldn't you like to be a Democrat too? Unfortunately, you can't, because you're not in our same, tax bracket. Please. I'm sorry, man. I'm just like, it might seem jaded, it might seem that I'm leaning one way or the other, but the truth of the thing is, I've now spent months trying to get somebody to convince me why that party is the party that you want to be part of if you're an American, if you want to side with them. And I see states that elect these Democrats, which are just politicians. Politicians that don't really, they say they're going to stand up for you. They say that they're going to do what's in the best interest of America, but they're not going to cross the aisle. They're not going to vote the other way, even if an issue, that's the part, very rarely, and I mean very rarely, do you see a Democrat that is willing to cross the aisle and vote on an issue just like a Republican would vote. And very rarely do you see a Republican cross the aisle they're going to vote with their party. And that, to me, is a sign of weakness. I mean, that's just like being in high school again. You want to be part of the in crowd. You want to be, if you believe strongly in something one way or the other, and you think you're representing your people, and you feel this is what the people want, it's going to be in the best interest of the people, you don't just vote your party. You vote what the people would want. And I don't know, I can tell you right now, when all these things come up for votes, I never get anything from any congressman asking me my opinion. Not even taking a poll on their website. Hey, you're the people that put me in this office. What are your thoughts? Which way should I go? What do you want? You don't get any of that. It's like, okay, you're just going to vote Democrat for everything. Well, you know what? That tells you what's wrong with our system. Because not everything that is brought to the Democrats is bad. And it's just not everything that's brought to the Republicans are bad. So if you're not willing to cross the aisle and compromise, you get government shutdowns and standoffs. I can tell you, it was when I was reading the thing yesterday or last night, and it said President Trump basically what they did is said, look, DACA was a huge thing for you. We're going to make concessions. We're going to give another 3 years for this. They really, truly put together a compromise to end the shutdown. President Trump and the folks in the White House, they all got together and they said, look, let's come to it. Let's find a way that everybody gets what they want. But of course, the Democrats don't want the wall because it would actually be considered another thing that Trump did while in office that he promised to do. So they can't give him that win at any cost. They don't want to give him the win. Now, President Trump says, look, give me what I promised the American people. That's what put me in office. They voted because think about it, his entire campaign was, we'll build the wall, we'll build the wall. Now, his we'll build the wall is really happening, and they just can't allow it. It would be devastating to their party if once again he did something that he promised to do. So it's like they don't want it to happen no matter what. But he went in and said, look, what's important to you? You had expressed this concern about DACA and about the children that were brought into the country illegally, and so he said, I'm going to give you some, and you go ahead and let me do this wall for the American people. It's safe. But instead, the Democrats said, well, we see your deal, and yeah, there's a lot of great concessions in there, and you're really, but you still want the wall. We don't want to give you that win. So what we're going to do is we're going to counteroffer you. We're going to say no money for the wall, and that's it. No money for the wall, and that's the compromise we're going to do. And we're not going to and we're going to let you end the government shutdown and pay back wages to all the people that have been out of work, or that have been on furlough. So that was their offer, and I'm like, how removed from reality are these? I mean, how truly removed from reality are the Democrats? I don't get it, man. I'm just like, I'm an American sitting here watching it going, you guys, your rich elite little, silver spoon in the mouth buddies and cronies, get off your asses, get out, just quit. Just quit. Let somebody else come in that can do the job, because you guys don't get it. The American people don't need your bullshit. And here's what's Trump. I'm going to tell you what he's going to do. And then somebody told me yesterday that Yep, he was going to just start sending them all back then. No compromise. It's over. Everybody's going back, and he's going to start sending the people that are back to, you know. Now, that you should have known that was going to come. He extended the olive branch, he smacked it out of his hand, and he's like, you know what? Then he'll find that. He's probably, you know what he probably did? He probably sat there and did some math and said, okay, how much do we spend if we have them all in this country? If we do this, how much money is wasted by doing this? And they says, well, this much money. He says, you know what? There's my $5 billion. If we spend $5 billion a year to keep them over here and do all this, there's my money for the wall. So ship them all back, and I'll get my money that way. I'm telling you, that's what he's going to do. He's going to end up doing it to where he just says, you know what, if you're not going to give it to me through the proper channels, I'll get it the other ways. I'll go ahead and get away with some of these, you know, there's tons of different programs out there. He'll just start doing away with those programs to get what he wants. And that's, you know, and they should have seen that coming. I don't know. Or he'll just declare a national emergency and allocate the funds the way he wants. This whole thing is ridiculous. The shutdown could have ended day 2 if Pelosi would have just said, take it on the nose, let's keep America working, let him have his little wall. He's not going to get reelected next year, so we'll go ahead and we'll just stop the funding of it next year. Or we'll just, because they love to drag things out. She said it herself, this wall issue and, you know, the border security, she's been doing it for 30 years. Really? Really? There's nothing that takes 30 years. Nothing. We've got probes on the moon. We've got little rovers on the moon. We've got probes out in the heliosphere of our galaxy. I mean, just we have so much shit that we've done. It hasn't taken 30 years. Hell, we've cured diseases in shorter times than that. So, I mean, think about that. Remember when there was an Ebola out? Now, Ebola, for those of you that don't know, Ebola is like a nasty, 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 just this virus that is absolutely devastating. You get it, it's got like a 90-something% fatality rate. You bleed out of the eyes, nose, every orifice of your body, and it basically liquefies your inside. You basically, very messy, and it's highly, highly contagious through blood and everything. So, primarily, it hits in Africa, usually. But, I don't know if you guys remember, several years back, there was a huge Ebola outbreak, and Americans got it. I mean, Americans got it. They actually flew these people to our, and other folks as well, but they brought them into, I think, Atlanta or whatever. But we actually made it to where these people, we cured the Ebola virus from them in a shorter amount of time than it's taken to fund this wall and stop this shutdown. I mean, it was like, it was amazing. These people, and you die very quickly. You don't have a month of it with Ebola. It doesn't work that way. Once you contract it, you die very quickly. Days, you know. And it's, but we got them over here, and we had some medicines we were working on, and we went ahead and ended up saving their lives, and they didn't have the Ebola anymore, and they're living today. Well, we did that quicker than what Pelosi and her cronies are doing for this, allowing this government shutdown. So, I don't know. I just guess it's funny to me. Anyway, guys, if you get a chance, follow me on Twitch or subscribe to me on one of the platforms you're on. I'm getting close to work. Once I get up here, I pretty much lose the signal at the same spot every day, every morning. So I go choppy for a little while till I get to the parking lot. But I appreciate you listening to me rant today and kind of listening to the BS that I put out there, because what's in my head is just that. It's what's in my head. I can't. But I do want to say thanks for watching. Please follow me, subscribe if you can. I appreciate you. And I'm going to keep kind of tweaking the show until I find out what's right, and I probably will go ahead and move the channel over to the poker channel and start playing a little bit while I talk and while we kind of BS together, because it'll give me a chance to build. You know, there's a good clientele of people that like poker, and I don't want to bore anybody that doesn't. So anyway, this is about where I start. So give me a minute. Depending on how good my signal is around these bends. Alrighty. Alright, guys. Well, hopefully it's hopefully the signal picked up a little bit. I have a clearer signal here. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in during the morning drive. If you stuck with me, God bless you. I mean, you got to definitely have it. You know, have a strong constitution to stay with me in the morning while I just rant and rave about stuff. But everybody's coming into work. For those of you that don't know, I work at a prison, and it's definitely a interesting place to work. Never a dull moment. So, and being Friday, it's going to be that much more interesting, I'm sure. So, have a great Friday morning or Friday evening, depending where you're watching from. And I'm going to do my best to. I'll do the afternoon drive 7.